here tonight too has spent his life in public service, mostly as a prosecutor, defending our communities from those who prey upon our families. And I've known him for a long time. In fact, he reminded me in Sequoia County last night that we were both elected on the same ballot in 1998. And he has been someone that I know as well will go to Washington and stand up for this district to make sure that it is a strong voice. So please welcome Rob Wallace.
Kenneth was nice enough not to mention the fact that when the headline came out in the newspaper on the day after the election, that his headline was above mine. I'm used to that. I got to tell you that I was in a lot of trouble just a few minutes ago because I let that reef get away. Jody Hoffman's one of my heroes because she pointed to me a minute ago and said, "When you leave tonight, you take that with you." Now I might actually be able to ride home with my wife. Yeah, for instance, it was me. Sorry. I got to tell you, it's an humbling thing to think about the undertaking of running for Congress in this district. And when you have spent the amount of time that my family and I have spent in the old 3 and what is now the confined 2 and 3, you think about the names of people who have represented this ground in Washington, and you have to just pause for a moment because it's so. You think about Lyle Bourne, or you think about Robert S. Kerr, or you think about Mike Siner. When you think about the great names of people that have gone before in this seat, it's hard to think that you can measure up. It's hard to think that you can actually have the voice that you need to have. But I'm here to tell you that I've spent most of my career as a prosecutor. I've stood in the courtrooms of eastern Oklahoma, in Muskogee, in the federal courts, in a number of counties around the southeastern part of the state, standing up for the rights of victims, standing up for the rights of working men and women in eastern Oklahoma. And that's exactly what we need. We need a strong voice in Washington that will stand up for the working men and women in eastern Oklahoma. And you've got to understand that's a special voice. A Democrat in this district is different than a Democrat in other districts in some instances. And what we need in Washington right now is we need some good old eastern Oklahoma common sense. I mean, do we see anybody up there engaging to try and develop public policy that actually helps anybody out here? No. In fact, what we see is bickering and hyper-partisan politics up there that's killing jobs in eastern Oklahoma, and we've got to do something about it. The Republicans aren't, Democrats will, and it's either going to be me or Wayne Harriman that are there doing it for you, and I want it to be me. I want it to be my voice that I get to carry up there, that I get to take your issues, that I get to take the things that mean something to you to Washington, to engage with folks that are there who haven't a clue the way we live in eastern Oklahoma. And one of the problems is that money has bought and paid for what's going on in Washington right now. What happens on Wall Street doesn't have anything to do with what happens on Main Street in McAlester. There was a time when people who led those big businesses, who ran those big banks, understood what happened out here meant something to them, and now they're completely detached from it. Because I'm telling you tonight that if your money works for you, you got it made in this economy. But if you got to work for your money, you're getting the shaft, and we got to do something about it, and it's Democrats who will do something about it. We got to tell them in 2012 in southeastern Oklahoma, we had a meeting at Christmas, and we said this has got to stop, and we are going to send people to Washington who understand what it is to wonder where your next meal's coming from on occasion. We're going to send people to Washington that understand that free public education is the key to upward mobility in this economy. We're not going to dismantle it. We're going to tell them that it's small businesses that have employed people in the rural parts of this country. It's small businesses that generate those jobs that we so highly covet right now. They've got it all confused. They seem to think that if you got 500 employees, you're a small business. Well, that ain't right, is it? You know, I think of a small business. I was walking after a football game before Gibson the other day, and there was a pickup truck there that had guy's name, heating and air on the side of it, and a license. There's a small business. I think of the guy that came over and fixed the furnace in my house recently, who works a day job at the hospital, working on their HVAC. But in the evenings, he's a small businessman. He's going out and helping people just like me that need to work on their furnace. That's a small businessman. It's a guy and his two sons running a seed company. That's a small businessman. It's a guy and 3 or 4 of his neighbors that get together and run a van up and down the streets and do plumbing. It's not a guy that has 130 vans running up and down the street. That's a big business. Small business is the key to creating jobs. And this government has got to get off the back of small businessmen, but I've got to tell you something. This government's got to have the back of small businessmen. That's what this is about. We don't need government on our backs. We need government to have our backs. The government didn't have our backs leading up to 2008. And Wall Street stabbed us right in it. And everybody in here is feeling the pinch because we don't live in that world. We don't know that world. That's a Republican world. That's a 1% world. And we don't live there. And those folks that are sitting up there representing us in Congress right now, those people that are in charge in the House right now, all they're doing is playing to those boys on Wall Street. Playing to those boys on Wall Street. Tonight we have to say it stops. Tonight, I am so encouraged that there are so many people here tonight. This is one of a number of events I've been able to attend in the last few weeks, and I'm telling you, people are getting out of their homes and they're coming to Democrat meetings all over this district because they understand. They understand that this election is about taking this country back for the common people, taking this country back for the men and women who work for a living. That's you, and that's me. I've stood in those courts arguing for people's rights for 20 years. Send me to Washington. Let me be your voice, arguing for your rights and the rights of small businessmen all over this country, standing in that Congress. Thank you for being here.